baby, this is crazy. So I had shut down the studio, gone upstairs to hang out with the family for the rest of the day when my editor Jacob reached out and was like, hey bro, there's some breaking news. And I was like, what is that breaking news? Well, kind of a big deal. PlayStation boss Jim Ryan is stepping down. Two sources tell Bloomberg News. Bloomberg, that's the word. This is big because it's pretty rare that the executive that's in control of a generation of gaming consoles steps down in the middle of the generation. It's just uncommon. Right as this news broke, there was a lot of speculation because this broke like 15 minutes or so before a press release went out explaining a little bit more of what exactly is going on. And so a lot of people were like, oh my God, it's clear that he was fired because he failed to block the Activision deal and that was his one job this generation and he blew it, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people started speculating almost immediately. However, in the official press statement, it actually looks like this is just a straight up retirement, which is a little less exciting and certainly less dramatic. Jim Ryan, president and CEO of PlayStation and Sony Interactive Entertainment, he announces his retirement after 30 years with Sony Interactive Entertainment. He says, as you will have seen today in the news, I have announced my retirement after nearly 30 years at Sony Interactive Entertainment. I did not take this decision lightly, and I absolutely love SIE and our community, but of late, I found it increasingly difficult to strike the right balance between having my home in the UK and my job in the US, which I'll give him credit. I can only imagine how difficult it is to live in the UK but have a job in the States and then like always be juggling time zones and everything. Like I thought my commute was bad when I had to drive an hour and 15 minutes down to Denver to work in real estate back then, like a few years ago. So I guess this is on another level. You know, I guess it's easier if you're a millionaire, but, you know, still, it's probably not easy. He goes on to say, as mentioned in the press release, I will continue my role as president and CEO until March of 2024. Effective April 1st of 2024, Hiroki Totoki will be appointed interim CEO of SIE while he continues his current role at Sony Group Corporation. And eventually they're going to find another replacement to take over the role and position completely. I'm hoping they get Herman Hulst, the guy from originally Guerrilla Games. I hope they promote him to take it over because I just want a gamer in this position. One reason I never really connected with Jim Ryan, besides the fact he looks like an alien wearing a human mask, is because he's not a gamer. He's a businessman. He's a good businessman. It seems like he climbed the ladder of Sony Interactive Entertainment all the way to the top. So clearly he knows what he's doing there, but he's not a gamer. And I think that reflects in Sony's approach to this generation. We've seen them double production budgets, but pretty much all of the extra money is being flooded into the live service space. You guys remember this cringe fest trailer for Fair Games? It's one of their new big budget AAA quality live service games that's like an extraction shooter or something coming from Haven. This is one of their biggest projects that they've announced so far in terms of new IP, and it looks utterly horrible. So I've not been that thrilled with PlayStation's direction and approach so far this generation because I feel like it's just people like Jim Ryan making edicts and commands from on high as to what the overall structure and approach should be for PlayStation. And instead of what we saw with like the PlayStation 4 generation, where the approach was super high quality single player games, now it seems like the approach is do that too, but let's focus on really trying to build out live service games and multiplayer games with microtransactions and stuff. And I don't like that. So to hear that he's resigning and retiring could mean that we see a little bit of a shakeup. It could mean that we see somebody else come in like a Herman Hulst or somebody that is a gamer at their core, prioritizes those really high quality gaming experiences first and foremost, and then the money comes after that. But we're just going to have to wait and see. The guy that's replacing him is this guy, Hiroki. He is somebody that's been climbing the ladder pretty crazy fast of Sony Interactive. In fact, just back in February 1st, he was set to succeed Yoshida as president of Sony. I mean, he's been on the climb. So To see him take over is going to be very interesting, to say the least. Prior to that, he was chief financial officer, promoted there in 2018, and he's also been the chief of the company's mobile phone division and the head of the banking division as well. This is like a money matters guy. He's the finance guy. So it's going to be interesting to see what he does, at least with PlayStation and Sony Interactive Entertainment, until they get the full replacement. And it's also going to be really telling who they put in place, who they replace Jim Ryan with. Is it going to be another person that's kind of reserved, doesn't go to gaming conventions, doesn't try to be forward facing with gamers at, you know, Game Awards and places like that? Or is it going to be more of a Sean Layden type who's going to come in, be the face of the company, be the face of Sony Interactive Entertainment, and try to lead by example in that way? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see who they choose to go with, though. You know, I think a lot of people just assume that Sony is PlayStation and then maybe they make some cameras and TVs, but they're actually a pretty varied corporation. They have, for example, in Japan, one of their biggest markets and means of revenue is actually insurance. That's actually a huge part of Sony's business in Japan, which is just funny if you don't know that. They have their hands in a lot of different pots at any given moment. And PlayStation has been one of the areas where they've been able to really focus, where they've been able to really hone the product and the marketing of it, identify a market, corner it, and then specialize like crazy in it. It's where they found a ton of success. So they've started to double down on gaming as one of their, if not the main factor of their business. So I'm not anticipating them to put somebody in position who's just going to try and boost their reputation with gamers. I just don't think that that's their MO right now. I think they view themselves as the kings of this generation, and they're going to do what they think is best to maximize bottom lines, because after all, that's what they did putting Jim Ryan in place to begin with. So I would love to be wrong. I would love for a Herman Holst or somebody to go in there and double down on like single player games and first party games like that. But we're just going to have to wait and see. If I had to put money on it, though, I think another Jim Ryan businessman will take over, and PlayStation gamers will be in for a lot more live service games over the next 5 years or so. Either way, pretty fun, right? Who thought we were gonna see this? I mean, like I said, I was no fan of Jim Ryan. I think he's generally been pretty bad for the brand. So I'm not upset about this, but let me know your thoughts in the comments section. Do you see this as a big deal? Are you not at all concerned or interested? I don't know. Let me know. To me, this is like a really big deal. If it was announced that like Phil Spencer were suddenly retiring, I would view that as a really big deal, as I think most people would. So let me know what you think. But with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for making my dreams a reality every single day, getting to talk about video games and get paid for it. That's outrageous. And I owe it all to you guys. So thank you. But until next time, I love you all. I'll see you next video or whatever. You like my sweatpants? They're comfy. Are you jealous? I bet you are. Thanks for watching. I love you all.